You've probably seen it, right? On your favorite crypto app, there's always that little button, Earn Passive Rewards, or Put Your Crypto to Work. It's called staking, and it promises to grow your holdings while you just sit back. But what is it, really? And what are the hidden risks? Let's get into it.
This is the pitch, and you have to admit, it's a good one. For the longest time, the main crypto play was just to hodl, hold on for dear life, and hope the price went up. Staking changes the game. It suggests you can actually get paid for helping secure the network. And honestly, that's the hook that gets so many people to click that button.
So, how do we even start to wrap our heads around this? Well, probably the easiest way to begin is with an idea we all know, the good old savings account.
Yeah, this is a really helpful way to think about it at first. With a bank, you deposit your money, they lend it out, and they give you a little slice of the profit as interest. With staking, you're locking up your crypto, the network uses it for security, and you earn rewards. In both cases, you're getting paid for providing a resource. It's a great starting point, but the real magic is in why the network needs your crypto in the first place.
Okay, so it's obviously not really a savings account. So let's pop the hood and see what's actually going on. How does this whole thing work?
It's all built on this one key piece of tech, proof of stake. You've definitely heard of Bitcoin and its proof of work system, right? The one that uses just a massive amount of computing power. Well, proof of stake is the modern, much more energy-efficient way to do things. Instead of proving you've done a ton of computational work, you prove you have skin in the game by putting your own coins on the line as collateral. So in practice, it's kind of like a three-step loop. First, you lock up your coins. That's your pledge to the network. In return, you get to help validate transactions and keep the whole system honest. And for doing that job, the network mints new coins and pays you with them. It's this cool, self-sustaining cycle of participation and reward.
So, what kind of rewards are we talking about here? It's usually shown as an APY, an annual percentage yield. And wow, can it vary. You might see anything from a pretty modest 3% all the way up to an eye-popping 20%, or sometimes even more. It all depends on the crypto, how busy the network is, and of course, where you're staking.
All right, so you're thinking, okay, I get the concept. How do I actually do this? Well, there are basically three main ways to get in on the action, and they each have very different levels of difficulty and risk.
You've basically got three main flavors. On the far end, you have solo staking. This is the hardcore, deep end of the pool option. You run your own hardware, you need deep technical knowledge, and you need a ton of capital, like 32 Ether for Ethereum. Then, all the way on the other end, you've got centralized exchanges. Zero skill needed, and you can start with like $1. And somewhere in the middle are staking pools, which are a pretty solid balance for a lot of people.
Let's be real, for most of us, running our own server is just not gonna happen. And that's why this is where almost everyone starts, staking right there on a big exchange. It's literally just a click of a button in an app you probably already have. They do all the complicated stuff in the background, you just collect the rewards. But, and this is a big but, that convenience comes at a hidden price.
All right, we've seen the promise, we've seen the process. Seems pretty great, right? But with every reward, there is risk. And in the world of crypto, those risks can be, well, pretty massive. It's time to look at the other side of the coin. Okay, first, let's get the obvious ones out of the way. Price volatility is the monster under the bed. A 10% APY doesn't mean much if your crypto's price tanks by 50%. Then you have lockup periods, times when your funds are totally frozen. You can't sell even if the market is in a free fall. And finally, if the validator you're using messes up, your rewards can get cut. But these aren't even the scariest risks. Now, here's a term you really need to know, slashing. It's the network's own police force. If a validator misbehaves, if it tries to cheat, or even if it just goes offline for too long, the network can actually confiscate or slash a portion of their staked coins. And since your coins are likely bundles with theirs, you lose a piece of your stake too. It's how the system keeps everyone in line. And that brings us to the single most important question in all of this, especially if you're using one of those super easy one-click exchange services. When you hit that stake button, what did you actually agree to? The answer gets to the heart of the biggest, most hidden risk of all. And here it is. This is the critical piece of the puzzle. On the left is what you think you have, a direct claim to your crypto held safely for you by the exchange. But on the right is what the legal reality often is. You've basically given the exchange a loan, and you are now an unsecured creditor. That means if that exchange goes bankrupt, your crypto isn't safe in some digital vault. It's just another asset on their books, and you have to get in a very long line with everyone else, hoping to get pennies on the dollar back.
And look, don't just take my word for it. This isn't some crazy theory. This quote from the Journal of Business and Technology Law says it all. The biggest, most ever-present risk is counterparty insolvency. In plain English, the risk that the company you trusted just fails. That risk trumps almost everything else.
So, after all that, what are the real stakes here when it comes to, well, staking? Let's bring it all home.
This table just lays it all out perfectly, doesn't it? Staking on an exchange is the easiest by far, but you give up all control and your number one risk is the exchange going bust. As you move down the line towards solo staking, you get more and more control, but it gets way harder, and you take on all the technical risks yourself. There's no perfect risk-free option here. It's all a trade-off. So at the end of the day, it really boils down to this one question. The promise of passive rewards is incredibly powerful, but the price you pay for that easy reward is often control and exposure to risks you might not have seen coming. So the question you have to ask yourself is that trade worth it to you?